This is the weather forecast video for Monday, March 26th, 2012. Taking a look at the satellite image from last evening, you can see storm system just to our west, producing some showers and isolated storms and some snow up in the higher elevations. And that'll be coming our way this week. Watch morning map from just before midnight. Some wind advisories and high wind watches and warnings to our west, some winter weather issues over the Intermountain West, some freezing watches and warnings to our east. QPF chart precipitation over the next 5 days through Friday evening at 7 o'clock. Around the state, about a quarter to a half inch of precip with this upcoming storm. Heaviest amounts to our north and well off to our west. And here's the 0Z GFS Model Run. At 1 p.m. this afternoon, you can see a little bit of a ridge over us with a trough digging in over the west, and there's the storm over the Intermountain West with some scattered showers and isolated storms over far western Iowa beginning this afternoon. And looking at the STP, the significant tornado parameter, at 7 p.m. this evening, the values are still pretty high, mainly over South Dakota. The supercell potential is very high over South Dakota, Minnesota, edging into far northwestern Iowa. So the better chances of storms look still to be to our northwest. And even the Craven Brooks index fairly high over South Dakota, with some elevated values into far western Iowa. So most of the severe weather looks to stay well off to our west. Even with the Cape values still fairly high off to our west, Cape values in South Dakota later today are forecast to be about 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. Heading into Tuesday, the front will be coming through during the afternoon with some scattered showers and thunderstorms, namely over the eastern counties. Back to the severe weather parameters, the STP. Some increased values, namely over south central Wisconsin, but still over 1 even into eastern Iowa. The supercell potential, the higher values off to our east, with values well off to our east being way high over lower Michigan. And the Craven Brooks index shows some elevated levels off to our south and even off to our southwest over Missouri and Kansas. So some of the storms could be quite strong. And the Cape values on Tuesday evening show values of at least 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram east of the Dubuque to Ottumwa line, so we could see some strong storms. Back to the GFS, and Wednesday it's gone. Temperatures behind the storm not really cooling off, 60s for highs to near 70, so the warm weather continues. Thursday, a bit of a disturbance is just to our south and west. That could pop up a shower off to our south and west. The rest of the state will be mainly dry, but not on Friday. Looks like a widespread chance of some showers and maybe isolated thunderstorms. This doesn't look to be an all-day rain, but temperatures will be in the 60s. Could be early morning showers Saturday, followed by clearing similar to this past weekend. Highs will be back in the 60s and lower 70s once more. And Sunday, winds are going to really increase from the south with the new front coming in. And this is the one that we'll have to look at in later runs, because a week from today, on April 2nd, big trough over the west with a lot of energy with it, especially come digging into the Four Corners region. And this is the one that's going to bring some showers and thunderstorms, and it's going to bring an end to the warm weather we've been seeing for several weeks now. It's still looking that way now. few days afterwards, this is in voodoo. By this point on April 4th, the fronts move through. Temperatures are dropping behind it back into at least the 40s. A few days after that, on April 6th, still a pretty broad trough over most of the country. It's not looking much like a warm pattern, and it's still looking quite cool. Temperatures likely, by this point, likely still highs in the 40s by this point. It's a little dependent on. And then at the end of the forecast on April 10th, trough over the west and a ridge over, namely the southeastern part of the country. Some energy digging in California, and it looks rather active across the country with some rain, scattered showers, storms. Another storm over the Intermountain West with some high elevation snow, so getting quite active. Thank you for tuning in to the weather forecast video. We'll have another one on Tuesday.